No idea what happened. It just impromptu kicked me off of the live almost immediately after beginning it. So this is an all signs reading. Take what resonates and leave the rest behind. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to be alerted when I do go live. So hopefully people aren't trying to gather in the other closed down live. And I don't know what happened. They just said sorry. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Period of healing. Be gentle on yourself and release the past. Whatever you are. Hello, Holly. It started, the live stream started, and then just like was on for 30 seconds and then kicked me off and was like, sorry, something happened. We don't know what. So I don't know. If that happens again, then hang tight. I'll try to get back on there again. That was crazy. Anyway, hello, Holly. I love you. How are you doing today, my dear? We're gonna go ahead and carry on. Um, Healing, be gentle on yourself and release the past. A lot of people are experiencing traumas, triggers, physically, emotionally, mentally. Hello, Anna. Um, and everyone's being triggered in different ways right now. Okay. So be gentle on yourself. Be gentle mentally, emotionally, and physically on yourself right now, because this is part of your legacy. This is part of why you are here, what you are meant to leave behind, stepping into your purpose for the highest good of all. Now, not everyone's purpose has to be this big grand thing where everybody knows you, you're a household name, and you're this master of your craft, and everybody, you're well known. Sometimes it looks like just living your life and being the light for those who you are connected to. um so just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people get overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I have a purpose. I didn't behave that way for me and I've been sitting here. Oh, that's so weird. I don't know. um Good, I'm glad you're doing well. Enjoy the outside. It's getting cold here, so I can only imagine it's probably that way for you. So a lot of people get overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to fulfill this which, yes, you have a huge purpose. But it doesn't look the same as other people's may look. So you might not be, ever in the spotlight. You might be that family member, that person. Hello, how are you? Who comes for that specific bloodline, or the people that you interact with, whether that's acquaintances, strangers, friends, doesn't matter. You're here to anchor those codes and be the light. I thought it was you, Mike. I wasn't quite sure. Good to see you, love. So be gentle on yourself and others. Right now, everyone's healing. You do not always know what someone is experiencing. So, not telling you to be nice, but be kind, okay? Because not everyone, especially those who are unhealed and experiencing their triggers and all their shit, they can be very not nice. I'm not telling you be nice to them. I'm just saying, take it with a little, glimmer of understanding that they're really going through something, but set your boundaries. Don't let someone walk all over you. Um, because that's not authenticity. That is sacrificing yourself for someone else's comfortability, and we don't do that. It has been a long time. It's so good to see you, Mike. Cold, windy, raining. That's how it is here, under an easy up with sides. Oh, that's nice. So you have like wind blockers. That's nice. Um, and someone's deciding to mow right now, so hopefully it doesn't interfere. Hopefully you guys don't even hear it in the background. I do have a pretty good mic, so we'll just carry on. So again, do not be nice to everyone, because not everyone deserves your niceties. Okay, being kind to others, being more patient with someone who might have that hair trigger temper in that moment, and again, don't take no shit. Okay, but kind of trying to see why it is that they got triggered, and how you can help to diffuse the situation for yourself, self-preservation, self-protection, that kind of thing. um, Otherwise it's their own problem, and you do not have to be nice, and you do not have to always demonstrate, you know, consideration for others who are stepping over your boundaries. So if that's the case, do not apply what I'm saying there, because that's absolutely no. You disrespect yourself by sacrificing yourself to keep others comfortable. And again, we don't do that here. Um, the Emperor, that's that divine masculine energy. He is in the upright bottom of the deck energy. He's not nice to everybody. Okay. This guy, he's not nice to everybody. He's stable, he's balanced, he's strategic, he knows, how to behave himself, which is why he's not going to, yeah. He's not going to go be toxic, wounded masculine about anything, right? But he's also not going to allow anyone to disrespect him, or anyone that he cares about, anyone that he is connected to, or situations that he is, tasked with nurturing, protecting, and so on. So again, you don't have to be nice to everyone. You can set those boundaries. You can be firm. You can be abrasive. And that's love, baby. That's love. But what we don't do is sacrifice ourselves. Surprisingly warm in Iceland. Dang. That's nice. Soak it up, Anna. Soak it up. Enjoy it. So take a step back and soak it up. With the Eight of Pentacles showing up right behind the Emperor, you do not always have to be actioning everything to death. The Emperor doesn't. He's strategic. He sits back, he observes. If an opportunity presents itself that he is aligned with, then he will seize that opportunity with that divine action, that inspired action. So taking every single opportunity is not going to be the way to fulfill yourself. I mean, haven't we proven that to ourselves over and over again with relationships, with situations that we've gotten ourselves into, jobs that we were like, oh yeah, I could do that for a while. And then we're like, I really can't do this. I hate this. So, and like me, whenever, when I was having seizures, I would start a job and then I would have seizures. So I would have to quit that job. So I learned, that's neither here nor there, but you can actually have a physical reaction to situations that you are, not a frequency match to. Okay, they said leave it there. So you can have not just seizures, not just, medical emergency type situations, but if you're like, if you have a physical reaction of some kind, even if it's like, I don't know, something with the tongue, like if you drink too much pineapple juice, or those who are allergic to like pineapples, strawberries, and they eat that, how your mouth will kind of burn a little bit. Even something like that. Pay attention to your body when you're around certain people. Pay attention to your energy levels when you're around certain people. Because greed, control, manipulation, selfish intent, people will use you. Okay. They're surfacing right now. They're coming up to the surface right now for us to realize that, and for us to remove them, or, act accordingly. But also because the energy sources for these manipulative beings, okay, not just the ones in human flesh that you can see, but the unseen ones as well, their energy resources are depleting. Okay, they're still depleting, so you're going to see them acting out of sorts, acting out of the norm for them. And even if it's odd behavior, like you've seen politically, I'm sure if any of you guys have seen anything like the orange taco guy, or anything like that, there's some really like random shit being said and being done, and it's like slip ups and things that they don't mean to reveal, but baby, the masks are falling, you can't help but see it, right? So this goes for people and situations, jobs, things like that in your immediate experience as well, because we are so hardcore in this shift right now. Like, we've got a lot of big stuff coming up, you guys. So you're seeing these, it's like short circuiting the matrix programming, the Mr. Smiths, of the matrix programming are starting to short out, and you're seeing it in real time, and you're like, wow, I never thought they would say something like that and reveal their agenda. Like, what's going on? It's because the programming is shorting out. Okay, the disguises are starting to slip. Okay, um I mean, they started a while back, but it's getting even more blatantly obvious at this time. And it's not just the main, like, world stage type of people, it's also the people that are in your life. And I knew that this was going to come up today because it just all day long has been coming up to me, and I'm like, I'm not going to get that deep. I'm not going to get that deep. It's a collective reading. People don't really want to, but I know our people, we really want to know, so here it is. um you know how certain mainstream figures, okay, will have handlers, right? Like, one that a lot of people know of is like Britney Spears and the conservatorship, and the handlers that she's had, many different ones surrounding her in her entourage and family. Okay. um those of us who are real sentient human beings right now, and also extra heavy on the star seed energy, we have handlers. Okay. And it's not always people that you would think that they are. Okay. So whenever you start up leveling, when you start growing, when you start shifting and gain this wider perspective, okay, this higher perspective, and then they might have been a safe person for you to share your thoughts and your dreams with, and what you were experiencing and things, and may have seen them as like open-minded and stuff. But then all of a sudden they're getting more in the 3D fixed aspect of things, and they're more like trying to discourage you from looking too deeply. Anna, I see that. um and they try to, like, bring up all of this, life handlers in the physical. Yes, yes, people that are assigned to you for this lifetime to try to keep you veiled. We have those, and I have those, and I've seen them, and I've seen more recently. So, and it sucks, but it's also a really good thing, because then you're like, I see you, I see you. So it happens. Okay. um it's a lot. It has a lot to do with kind of the level you're at. um like, those in this community who are awakened and aware and all of these things, you probably have a handler or two around you. And the more that you start to awaken to deeper, yeah. Oh, hell nah. Yeah. Hey, Matt. um but yeah, and they can even be like, so in the spiritual community context, right, they can be these friends that you've made in the spiritual community, and like, oh yeah, we're on the same page, like, we know what's going on in the fake shit and the NPC and the holographic reality matrix and blah 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 blah. They can be like super hardcore spiritualists, right? But they're going to more so adhere to the mainstream agenda that, every single sphere of humanity is infiltrated, right? We know this, and they prey on the vulnerable, and spiritual people are like, we just want to connect with others because we've always felt so alone in our experience, and we just want to connect with like-minded individuals and star seeds and these light workers and shadow workers, and all this. This stuff is not so mainstream, so it's really hard to find these people, and so we start connecting in our groups, and then you start to see a divide. The more you awaken, the more you see, like, they're pushing the whole, love and light theory thing, or they're getting really heavy into the fear tactics with the reptilian and the entities and all the stuff. and oh, we have to go and remove all of these entities from all of these people without their permission, and they're unassuming and all that. That is toxic masculine, going in and basically graping the situation or the person spiritually because you know better than them what they're supposed to experience. You get my drift. So yeah, we do have handlers, we do have these agent smiths that are placed in our path to try to keep us shrouded and veiled for as long as possible, if not indefinitely. So a lot of people are awakening to these types of people in their experiences. Become the observer. If you if you sense that someone in your life is like that, just observe, and then just play around with them, right? Toss a little something out of left field from time to time and see what their response is, and see if they're truly on board with you, how you feel when you're interacting with them. That's going to be the best way for you to know, because they don't send people to handle you, or entities or beings to handle you, if you're not powerful as fuck. Okay. So you're a warrior, stand in your truth, see the fucking facade for what it is, see through the veil, and just keep being you. Keep, they don't have to agree with you. They're not going to, if they're going to handle you, or they're going to kind of try to act like they agree with you, but in a roundabout way. They're actually kind of trying to insert and reinforce previous programs. So just, and please don't get like paranoid about it, okay? Because they can't impact your consciousness unless you allow them to, unless you invest in the story that they're putting down. Like, if it doesn't sit right with you, if it doesn't resonate, then don't pick it up. Just like I say with all of my readings, all of my, channeled information. If it doesn't resonate, then it's not for you. It's not your reality. We're all living in different realities, right? So you don't have to accept it. That's on you. That is your decision with your free will to take that and run with it. Okay. So just keep your eyes peeled right now, and only interact with those who you feel resonant with. Home changes, moving, and approval. And this does apply to this current earth plane that we call home right now, you guys. There are changes, there are moving pieces, there are upgrades, there's some downgrades too for some of y'all, but I don't claim that timeline, right? I claim the timeline where everyone is thriving, where we're not judging anyone for being any type of way, um, for the whole facade to fucking crumble, because that's all it is. And those who are around you that reinforce the us versus them in any kind of context are part of the programming. Okay. And I see it a lot. And I also recognize that a lot of traumas, ancient traumas, from indigenous peoples that have been wronged, and people of color is what they like to call them. That's how everyone understands it, but we're all the same. We're all the same. Um, we bleed the same blood, right? It's just the costumes. You don't see actors on stage, unless that's the play, attacking each other for wearing the costume that they're wearing. That's the costume. That's for that role. Like, I'm not going to judge you because of the costume that you're wearing for a role that you're playing, when I know you're a completely different person than what you're playing in this little hour and a half skit, you know? So people take it way too seriously, but that is also surfacing. There's a lot of all of that flying around. So using your discernment, not getting pulled into that us versus them rhetoric, even like in the spiritual community. And you've heard me talk about it. I just talked about it a few minutes ago, about those in the spiritual community who are, could be handler types. But there's also those who have been traumatized by religion or by others in the spiritual community, or just life in general, their own life and all the things that they've experienced, where they will completely latch onto any kind of idea that's presented to them that makes a little bit more sense than what they believed before. But perhaps it's not really that aligned with truth. It's just kind of that same cycle they're trying to get out of, wrapped in something else that's shiny with a bow on it. And they're going to have to experience that until they awaken to oh, this is like the same, the same narcissist boyfriend wrapped in a different flesh suit and, come into my experience. It's the same thing. So please do not get paranoid about it, because a lot of it is also people that are in their own awakening process replaying the same program wrapped up in something that looks different, okay, but is very much the same. And so non-judgmental, okay, non-judgmental. So I'm going to try not to get sidetracked with all these, with all the comments. So home, our home, earth, or your actual home may be undergoing certain changes. You might be getting a new home, getting approved for something, getting that job, getting that promotion, getting that raise, that whatever. There are changes, or you could be being, removed from a position or a person's life or something. It like people have removed me from their life. I'm like, okay, why? Nice knowing you. So we do it all the time, and it's based on frequency. Okay. So if you're being removed from a situation or from someone's life, then bow out with gratitude. Okay. Just, all right, cool. Like, it served its purpose. Thank you. I'm glad that you recognized it. Now I recognize it. Let's move on. We're not chasing after what's trying to leave us right now. And we're not trying to have other people or situations chased after us whenever we're trying to leave them too. Okay. That makes us feel hunted, and that makes our nervous system feel unsafe. I wanted to say immune system, but that wasn't it. Shifts momentum into a new timeline / reality. We are timeline fucking jumping, you guys. We are leaping across timelines. Remember back when, it was probably like a year ago, maybe less than that, whenever I talked about timelines, like we're here to collapse timelines. There's all this, we're collapsing all kinds of timelines right now. And that's where you get some of the Mandela effect. Of course, it's also with, outside interference and portal creating and whatnot from, secret programs and all of that. Yes, I get that that's going on, but it's all happening for the highest good, and they're all playing their roles and playing their parts. Okay. So we're collapsing timelines, and we've been through some shitty things this year, right? Every single one of us, and a lot of us have been through, like, if it's not one thing, it's another kind of thing. But you've got to remember that we're collapsing timelines. So the timeline that you're facing this lump of shit today is different from the lump of shit that you dealt with last week. That's a different timeline, but now you've come to this one to repair this one where it was frayed or where it was broken or where it was, negative. And so it might seem like shit show after shit show, but it's timeline after timeline that we're fucking weaving, we're healing, and then we're collapsing that down. So, we've been doing a lot of work, y'all. If you have any new gray hairs this year, then that could be the reason. All right. Mine have actually been disappearing. I had a couple, like probably like 10 on each side of my head or something that I noticed, but I don't really care. But I noticed them and I'm like, huh, that's cool. I'm really proud of that, because my mother went full gray at 20. So I'm like, okay, I've just got a few coming up, so I'm doing pretty good in comparison, but you might have sprouted a few extras this year, because damn. And the Schumann is off the hook. Yes, definitely, Mike. um that's kind of the byproduct, right? That's the byproduct of the energetic shifts that we've been experiencing. So everyone here is actually very aware that we've been undergoing lots of shifts, but I'm letting you know, yes, it might have been a hell of a year, okay, but you've closed down all of those open looping, more dense, more shadowy, negative type, low frequency timelines. So it's only up from here. Even if you have to collapse a few more before you get there, it's grace for wisdom, bro. Yeah, for real. Copper supplements. Yes, Anna. Yes, I need to get some. Can't even think of the name of it right now because my left brain's not in function at this time. But yes, it's like the silver water, the cannot think of it for the life of me, but ask me any other time when I'm not in the channel, I'd be able to tell you like that. Anyway, Yes, you can do copper that will help with the coloration, but also with your fascias and everything like that too, which is essentially what wrinkles are, is, you know, your fascias of your face or have shifted. So you can massage your shit and it'll, you know, iron out them wrinkles too. And that's why I use my own skin oil for that too. So yeah. You know where to hit me up. It's right there. Um, Ace of Wands, these shifts are bringing this new period of complete transformation. That is what fire is. Fire is transformative, okay? Fire is passion, fire is action. Think of the Aries full moon that we just had, okay? A lot of people were real fiery and passionate around that time. So this is like the kindling, okay? This is the kindling for that huge roaring fire that we're moving into. So stillness showing up here, wait for the sign, don't rush, and enjoy the pause. Allow all of this stuff to burn away, to be cleansed by the fire. um Call on the violet flame if you need to, okay? Seven of Pentacles reverse. I got to mine, cool. um Reverse aging, aiming for 25 again. Hell yeah, girl, you look 25 still. Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. Things haven't been growing, things haven't been moving forward. It feels like you're at a standstill. That's because you're meant to, you know, bask in this stillness. You're meant to tie up all these loose ends before this passionate new energy with that Ace of Wands, that new cycle, okay, comes in before it takes effect. You have to be working right now on yourself, on your nervous system, okay, with that Three of Pentacles showing up. Collaborations, reaching out, you know, building communities like we've been doing here. Kind of dropped the ball a little bit, that I'm talking about me. But you know, there's a lot going on. So we do what we can, right? So you know, just creating these support systems, these connections, these people, these situations, you know, making sure that we feel safe. Nervous system regulation. EFT tapping is really good for helping with that if you need to regulate your nervous system after intense trauma, or, you know, etc. Security, feeling comfortable within all aspects, family, finances, self, and life. That is what we're moving into. But first, all of that shit's gonna have to be kicked up, drudged up, and triggered right on a silver platter right in front of your fucking face right now. Okay. That's just what's happening. Because you cannot move into prosperity and abundance if you still got lack, you know, in the shadows, following you, stalking you everywhere, and you're acutely aware of it because that is still within your nervous system. Healing something mentally, emotionally, even hypnosis and things like that is all great. And we talk about that all the time. But what doesn't get talked about enough, and I do talk about this, but I'm stressing it even more now, is we have to work this shit out of our bodies. We have to work this shit out of our vessels. So taking a walk to get the energy moving, taking a walk to say, hey, you know what? I'm detoxing. I'm letting go of all of this shit. The detox card is right here front and center in the reading. Because if it's still hidden in your fascias and your body, in your muscles and in your bones, okay, because that's how dis-ease manifests, is the body holding on to that stagnant energy, those traumas and things. And you can do all of, you know, the work up here, going to therapy and all of that, and it's amazing and it makes you feel a lot better. But you know, it's like something's still hanging over you, something's still looking over your shoulder. It's your shadow, baby. You can't outrun your shadow. You have to integrate. So your body holds memory, your muscles hold memory. How many times have you heard that, especially if you've ever been to the chiropractor? So, and you have to keep going back until your muscles remember how to hold your, you know, your posture and everything in alignment when you're not going all the time anymore. You know what I mean? So just like the muscles hold memory, your body holds the memory. My dog just came in and opened the door a little bit more with her little fat booty. So there's more light coming in. I feel like a vampire. Anyway, deception, manipulation, lies, and envy. And that is coming up right underneath this King of Cups in the reverse. You could be experiencing this from yourself, or people that are around you. This would be self depreciating. This would be self judgment, or this would be like, you know what? We probably should take a mental health day today because we're not feeling so great. But you know what? Gotta grind for that clock, gotta grind for that fucking paycheck, or I won't be able to make my bills. And so I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna neglect my body, neglect myself, even though I know that I should take a mental health day or a physical health day. I'm just gonna go ahead and grind it away. That's sacrificing yourself for someone else, because let's face it, who benefits more from you going to work for that day when you could be claiming PTO time? Or if you don't have PTO time, it's going to be less of your pay, but who really benefits the most out of that situation? Your employer, right? So self-sacrifice isn't going to cut it for you anymore. That King of Cups reverse, that like the wounded masculine, the chaos is surfacing right now for a lot of people, especially if you identify as a female. I don't care if you were born that way or not. The wounded masculine is, being abusive and judgmental and all of these things. I'm not saying all of the men, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the wounded masculine, okay? It's everywhere with, oh, women should have their place, all women should be married and have their husbands take care of them, but they can't be a gold digger either. Like, you can't get a job, you can't get a bank account. We're going to go back to 75 years ago, before women actually had rights. And but you also can't be taken care of by us and be a gold digger. So you what? What? There's a lot of that going on. So the wounded masculine is surfacing in a big way, and it is deceiving, right? Look at the wounded masculine that's running our shit right now in the US. Like, lies right in your face. You can prove it in the moment that they're lies, but it's not going to stop them from spouting them. And it's not just those who are in power in the US right now, it's other masculine figures in your own individual life, okay, in your own experience. So and that's coming up in females too. Wounded masculine energy can be housed within a female too, okay? So that's all surfacing right now. Do what you need to do to heal whatever part of you is triggered by that, okay? And set an example, set a boundary, be fucking loud about it, okay? Be loud, embarrass the shit out of them, because we're holding you accountable publicly, okay? You can either shift or you can dig your heels in more, but we're going to know exactly who the fuck you are, okay? Period. End of fucking story. So all of this manipulation, everything, all the lies, all of it are surfacing. So don't be surprised whenever people that you would have never thought would feel that way or think that way or act that way or do the thing to you that they just did to you or any of that. Don't be surprised when it happens, because everyone's purging, okay? And when people are healing, people are messy, and when everyone's messy, it's just a big old fucking food fight in the mess hall, right? So just be aware of what's going on, protect your own energy, cut those ties with those who don't resonate at your frequency anymore. And yes, mourn them if you need to, but be happy that also you saw what it was for what it was. And now you don't have that hindering you anymore. You don't have that anchoring you to your old timelines, to the old toxic patterns anymore. It may hurt, it might not. But like, if you're like me, okay, good riddance. But so it may or may not hurt, but we're detoxing that, okay? Those who are here to deceive us, to manipulate us, to use us, all of it, they can't stick around unless we invite them to, unless we keep them around. Told my swollen foot and ankle that it's okay to release the trauma. It's okay and safe now. Hopefully it works. I love that, Holly. Try doing some EFT while you're at that, because that'll help your meridians and your physical body to release that as well. And that'll encourage them to, continue or to release more and more, Manifesting and healing, can feel my chi and can now unblock chakras with intention. Awesome. To feel it all crumble and healing. It's beautiful. That's awesome, Matt. So yeah, everyone's detoxing. Some level, something, you're detoxing, and it's that wounded masculine energy, okay? We've got the death card showing up in the reverse, so this is rebirth. That is card number 13. Today is the 13th as well, just so you know. Divine Feminine showing up real strong in today's reading, and she's like, we're getting that wounded motherfucker out of here. He's going to heal, he's going to integrate, and he's going to step the fuck up like a masculine is actually supposed to do, regardless of your gender. Okay. That's just what it is. It's movement into balance, baby. Bottom of the deck, movement into balance. Card number 1, new beginnings. Okay. And this is after the storm. Look at all this water. Water. Hello. Look at all the water. It's washing away. Everything's surfacing. There's floods in motherfucking Alaska. Nobody's talking about them. I don't know if anybody on here knows about the floods that are happening in Alaska, but lo and behold, they didn't have any kind of warning because they didn't want indigenous peoples to have a warning before they got, wiped out. Literally. The indigenous are under attack right now. All the indigenous, okay? Why do you think that there's such a big problem with missing and murdered indigenous? Okay. They've always been attacked because the current DNA that they carry is of this Gaia, this earth, this plane, right? And that's in their blood physically. And those who are losing in power or need beings that are human for sustenance, because we're very powerful beings and the ones who are here pretending are not, they have to derive that energy somehow. Okay, so the indigenous are going to continue to be under attack. I don't care if they're black indigenous, if they're brown indigenous, if they're whatever color you want to put on them indigenous. Okay, they're being I have to shut that a little bit more because that light is like right in my eyeball and the tism doesn't like it. So we know now and can research. Yes. So because they're the grounding conduits. Okay. Yes, we are all grounding conduits for what we're here to ground. And a lot of us are extraterrestrial in origin, but those who are incarnated as indigenous at this time are being used for their pure energy, their pure connection to Gaia herself. And those beings are trying to keep their hooks in, so that they're on their way out. They're getting ousted, they know it, but they're trying as hard as they can to hold on tight. Okay. Not going to happen. They're going to get ousted anyway, but that's what's going on. And that's why so many indigenous are targeted right now. Brown, black, any other color, like I said, but those in the US are the ones who are mostly targeted at this time. So we're moving into balance, but it's ugly and it's horrifying. Not just ugly, it's horrifying. It's horrific. Absolutely horrific. But we have to go through the purge before we can bring this joy. Okay. We have to ground in our joy. Grounding. Okay. As often as we possibly can right now. And we've been saying that for the last couple of years. I know. But that's because we've been in this shift for a while, not just the last couple of years, for a while. And especially whenever it's turbulent, ground, look for the glimmers. Like I told you last week or the week before, I don't remember. Look for the glimmers, okay? Ground that in, anchor that in, milk them for all that they're worth in your experience. And right in that moment, original humans of Earth were mainly dark colored, right? I just saw online Putin decided to open one of Russia's oldest church and all the ascended masters' portraits are black and dark skin. Yes, ma'am. Many of them, yes. Most of them, yes. There's a whole thing. So there's light-skinned ones that, yes, extraterrestrial came here, were seated here. There are also those who evolved into more light-skinned because of the areas that they were, like the Agarthans of Antarctica, and like the Norse pagans, Icelandic individuals too. Like, yeah, so some of them were seated here, some of them were evolved over, many different generations. The whole world is mad right now. Can't wait until things balance. Yeah, and it's because, their ancestors are screaming for recognition. Those wounds are screaming for integration. And especially with the indigenous of, you know, this earth plane, certain areas, all of these areas of indigenous were traumatized and, relocated forcefully and all of these things. Every single race has a story about that, even the white people, okay, whose cultures were completely stripped from them. And it was done by regressive species, but there are some indigenous very light skinned people, like light skinned, light hair, light eyes, but most of this plane was populated by the darker skinned indigenous. And what these regressive species did by suiting up in the white skin to, enforce this whole agenda, they did a lot to a lot of cultures, all of them. I would say all of the indigenous cultures around the world, um, East Asian indigenous as well. We had um, Chinese and Japanese as slaves, enslaved in California to build California. Like when the gold rush was happening, it's like that's history that's known to Californians if they paid attention in school. I paid attention, and we had um, Asian slaves in California, and that was after slavery was abolished. They were still using them because they were Asian. They were not black, so people didn't see it. It slipped under the radar. Um, yeah. So with the Three Eye Atlas, we did talk about that a little bit last week. You weren't here though, Mike. So it is. A lot of it is energetic. A lot of it is also like Anunnaki type beings, the not the regressive reptilians and the regressive beings that kind of took up after they left. So yeah, it is going to be writing some things, but energetically, and like we've been receiving the energy, and that's why everything's amping up too. So we've been kind of building up to the point where now it's really like it's come through the solar system, and now it's like last I heard it was behind the sun, making its way to earth. And why do you think it's behind the sun from where we're looking at the sun? Because the sun is going to broadcast these frequencies. So a lot is changing, and a lot changing for the better, but also you're going to have the ugliness screaming as it's surfacing, as it's being removed, while these higher frequencies are incoming. So yes, there were Irish slaves too, very, very, very many of them, especially in your neck of the woods, Holly. So yeah, we've had it's never been skin color against skin color. It's been the wealthy controllers over the rest of us. You know what I mean? And they created the whole race war thing. But still, some cities, even in the U.S., like that you'll go to, think really negatively about Irish people or about um, Italian people, even because Italians were brought over as slaves too. So it's not a race thing. It's not a skin color thing. It is the wealthy versus those who are not wealthy. But that's changing. That's part of the shift, is they can no longer exist here, and we have to be the ones to decide collectively. And people, for like not that long ago, were like, how are we going to get everyone in the world on the same page right now collectively to actually shift this and say no, that and then see that it's the wealthy versus the not wealthy, and these regressive Draco reptilian type species, among many others, that have been trying to control and siphon energies and all of that. But guess what? You guys know about Nepal? Nepal took their fucking country back. Okay, prime minister resigned after they did their uprising. And not just Nepal. It's many countries right now across this earth plane. So yeah, and they've also pitted people against one another, the us versus them, because they can use poverty to manipulate, because poverty makes people angry. And then when they're angry and they don't know what to fight against, or they're too distracted to know exactly who they're fighting against, then they're like, oh, it's because you guys are coming in and stealing our jobs. No, no, absolutely not. Anyway, duality, baby, is because duality. Nepal government is done, and a few other, yeah, and a few other countries as well. Like it's happening. It's been happening, but they don't want us to know, so they manipulate social media and they hide shit, and they don't do it on mainstream news. They don't report on so many things because they don't want everyone to know and become aware of all of this and unify, right? But they can't stop it. They can't stop it. So yeah, we're seeing the duality right now. We're seeing light versus dark, positive versus negative, those who are, oppressing people and the oppressed thinking like, oh, it's not just me being oppressed. Oh, it's not just the black people, it's not just the brown people, it's not just the, whoever people. It's the haves and the have-nots. What? What? Yeah. Anyway, that's growth, baby. This duality is helping us to see it, and the fact that it's so blatantly obvious, it's so loud and in your face everywhere you turn, it's negativity, it's ugly. It's because some people are so deeply programmed, okay, that they don't see it even if it's in front of their face. Only whenever it affects them, not just one way usually either. Like one or two ways they can dismiss it, like that's just a coincidence, because there's still people that believe in coincidence. But whenever it's so loud and in your face, or it's threatening your sense of security, your sense of home, your sense of safety, then that's when you decide you want to shift to. How about that? So yeah, it does have to get really loud and ugly, because we know there are some dense ass individuals on this plane still. So yes, it does have to get really bad before some folks are going to wake up, and that's what we're seeing right now. So success, bottom of the deck with the divine feminine, and it's card number 33, master number 33. Success is guaranteed, period. Okay, fucking period. Accomplishment of one's goals, accomplishment of our collective goal, and that is to unify, to come together so all of us can prosper. Not to where Jimmy John down the road can prosper in his big old fucking mansion while we're Jimmy John's slaves over here, in the slave quarters, just slaving away at our jobs because Jimmy John owns all of these fucking, and I know it's a restaurant, and that's kind of like punny, but I didn't mean to. So we're the restaurant workers, and we have to work constantly while Jimmy John sits up there on his fucking throne and plays with our lives and sells our apartment buildings, so we're out on the street type of shit. You know what I mean? Not a personal experience, as you guys know, but this is what people are. I mean, a fucking owner of an apartment building in Chicago called ICE because he was bankrupt on his building and it needed to be cleared out. And it wasn't Hispanic and Latino families. Okay, it wasn't, but they came through and swooped him up anyway, children naked, right out of their beds, middle of the night. So, you can tell it's not just one race that is being attacked here, and of course they're going to attack those who are of color, because the whole white supremacy thing is still a theme for many people right now. And I know a few of them, and I'm sad to say that, but I do. I know people that are like that, and it's ugly and it's horrible, and all we can do is be an example. So, guidance, help from the higher being. We're having success here. Help from higher beings, your guidance. Listen to it, listen to your intuition. Hi, Dallas. Love you. Don't worry. Don't worry about being late, my darling. Determination right behind that. Okay. Whatever obstacles you are having surface in your life right now, just know that you are going to be successful. Yes, you may be triggered by these things that are happening because they're unwanted things, but obviously that's in your energy, or else things wouldn't manifest. So once we integrate that, we're over it, done, goodbye. We've collapsed that timeline. We can move on to the next. Okay. Hopefully you've been doing the work all this time and you don't have many timelines to collapse. But if you do, may the force be with you. Okay. um, um so yeah, lots of stuff coming up for release, emotional release showing up here. Okay, lots coming up for release. This is card number 37. 3 plus 7 is 10. Emotional release, that is letting go, that is endings and conclusions. And we did not have a full moon in Aries last week for no reason. Lots of emotions surfacing, lots of wounded masculine energy getting triggered and crying in a little heap like a toddler, okay? All of that anger, all of that frustration, all of that shit that nobody's known what to do with or why, because they thought that it was another skin color or another something that they're born with that's different than me that's causing me to feel this way, when all the whole time it's been, these controllers. Okay, so people are angry, people are going to continue to be angry, people are not able to afford a fucking sandwich on their lunch break. What do you expect? They can't take a sick day, they can't do certain things because it's hard right now for almost everybody, not everybody, but almost everybody in some way, shape, or form, not just financially. Okay, so lots of anger coming up. Men who have been taught that real men don't feel feelings and they're just tough and brute, and they bully people whenever they're feeling bad to get their anger and frustration and sadness out. We know that don't work, right? So we're seeing a lot more of that. It is surfacing, and all we can do is be the example and speak the fuck up. If you see someone berating somebody out in public, like a cashier or something, or their girlfriend or wife or husband or whoever, I don't care who it is or what gender they are. Okay, if you see some toxic shit, fucking say something. Say, this is not normal, that is not okay, and I don't care if you're not doing it to me or not, you're not going to do that to somebody in my presence, because that is absolutely unacceptable. And draw the line. We have to fight for one another at times, we have to protect one another at times. You don't know why you were called to that gas station today, but whenever you saw that dude beating up on this chick that he was following around and wanting to try to kidnap her up, and you don't intervene, why were you brought there? To help somebody, right? To change someone's life. And it doesn't have to be that dramatic. It can be as simple as, hey, you know what? You have the most beautiful eyes, and I just wanted to let you know that I saw your eyes, and or your shoes are great. Like, where did you get, or you know what? Your energy is just beautiful. I just wanted to tell you that I really noticed, you have a pleasant energy. Anything. Okay? Because you don't know how they've been feeling all day or what they're going through. That might have been their sense of reprieve in the midst of all kinds of chaos. Okay, or that might have been their sign, the one that they asked for, to keep going, because I don't see humanity around me anymore. Where's the humanity in people? I'm gonna myself, if I don't see some humanity today, and you're that one sign of humanity that saved them and kept them here that much longer. You know what I mean? So listen to that guidance when it comes in, because it is um, not going to lead you astray. All right. Have your confidence in yourself, and confidence that everything is getting better. Even though it's getting ugly, it's getting worse right now, it's happening for the best. Okay, for the highest good of not just you, but all involved. This is the shift. This shift isn't easy. Nobody fucking said it would be. Okay, check your soul contract again if you need help with that. You know where to find me. Book with me. So rely on yourself, but also form community. Have confidence that you are of a higher frequency now, and the types of people that you used to connect yourself with that let you down time and time and time again, did you dirty or traumatized you, that's not happening anymore. You've healed from that. You've already gotten rid of that. Okay, so now you're making these community connections, you're making soul family. Maybe you're improving and healing your own family members so you guys can more cohesively form a family unit, moving forward. However it plays out for you, have confidence that everything is healing. The healing card right next to that. Um, and that's card number 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3, collaboration, just like this 3 of Pentacles right here. Okay. Creation, restoring back to health. So have confidence that, yes, even though we have the polarity, we have that duality, we have all this shit, and we have, wounded shit flying left, right, and center. Okay. Use your discernment. Surround yourself with people, places, and things that enhance and contribute to your growth and your own energy. Okay. Instead of taking away from it. Use your discernment on who you keep around you now moving forward, because we're choosing what energy we're gonna be living in. If we're gonna continue with the old 3D, because the Dolores split that she talked about, and then a lot of people talk about, it's not a physical split, but anyway, um, like Gaia's not gonna split into two and then like have two different Earths, is what I mean, okay? But you have the choice to stay with the old 3D paradigm or move into what people call the 5D paradigm. Okay. That's on you. And birds of a feather flock together. Okay. You cannot be consistently in someone else's energy that is much lower than yours without bringing yourself down to that energetic frequency, right? And whenever you have been there for so long, or if you keep going back every single day or so often, where do you think that your frequency is going to start resonating? Okay, because you can come down lower, but they can't come up higher. That's not how it works. Yes, energetic split. Exactly. So use your discernment. You can love them, but you can also leave their fucking asses behind to learn their own lessons, because you cannot learn their lessons for them. And you can lay out the coursework and go line by line into deep examples and, really get into it and explain, to your heart's content what every single line of every single, page of this fucking manual says. But if they're not ready and if they're not willing to do the work themselves or get on the same page, they're not going to understand any of it. Period. Let them go. You're by holding on and trying to hold their hand and teach them and learn their lessons for them, you're basically saying they're too fucking stupid and they're not going to get it, so I could live their life better than them. And if it's somebody that you love, you should really look in the mirror. You should really check yourself, because I love you and I have full confidence in your ability to walk your own fucking path. I don't care who you are. So I would never have the audacity to think that you're so stupid, so incompetent and incapable of making your own decisions that align with your own highest good, which only you can discern. I would never. No one. So check yourself if that's how you're feeling. Okay. Retreat. Retreat while you're healing. This is right underneath that healing card. And that's card number 40. 4 is foundation. 0 is the God force, the source number. That is that, source energy. So divine energy, creating foundations, but you have to retreat. You have to go within. You have to meditate. You have to align with yourself, only yourself. Yeah, they suck the loosh right out of you. Yeah. Especially if you're trying to straddle two different fucking lanes. You're in your lane and then you're in someone else's lane too, because you don't feel that they're competent enough to fulfill their own purpose. Imagine. That's a burden. That's a heavy fucking burden. So how much more can they harvest from you, and how fucking spiritual and how fucking high vibe is that of you, right? So I know that probably none of you do that, but I'm talking to whoever needs to hear it at any time, because this is a timeless reading, and anytime someone finds it or listens to it and they resonate, then that's when it is. Okay. So that's a heavy burden. It's enough to carry my own shit, my own spiritual path and journey and purpose. I barely have enough time for my own, right? I'm not going to go take in on someone else's shit too. No, I was not that kid that did people's homework for them in class. I was the kid who outsourced other kids to do my homework for me in class, okay? So I really do not have the time or the energy to walk my path and someone else's too, okay? Eyes on the prize. You're the prize, honey. So keep your focus on your own lane. Otherwise, it's a burden, okay? Retreat from all the burdens. Tribe is showing up here. Community with the same values. This is what we've been talking about. the whole time. So letting go of frequencies of people, places, and things that do not align with your energy anymore, that you do not resonate with anymore. You could have loved them so fucking hard and would have gone so fucking hard for them before in the past, even till today. Maybe even after you cut ties with them, you would still jump to their side if they called you up because of loyalty, because you love them, because of whatever, whatever. Okay. That still doesn't mean you have to keep them in your immediate circle. You can keep them like the fuck over there until they learn the lessons and they bring their frequency up, and then they can come right back in. Okay. But it does not mean you need to stoop to their energetic level and get rolled up in all kinds of extra side quest fucking shadow lessons that you didn't even need to do because you already mastered that a long time ago. But you were stupid enough to say, okay, because I'm so loyal to my own detriment, I'm going to stay in their frequency until they can learn the lesson. Baby, you're not learning yours. Okay. So let them go. They're confident, they're capable, they're competent enough to handle their own path. Okay. Let them do it. It's on their own time. That's their divine timing, not yours. You are not God. We are all God. We are all a fractal of God, but it is not about your fractal to determine what another fractal should or shouldn't be doing and what their timeline is. Okay. Because they're also God. They also know they have their own divine fractal timing. Okay. So hands off. Don't go intervening into someone else's energy, especially uninvited, because that's going to have karmic repercussions that you are not prepared for, my dear, especially if they are as deeply fucking protected as someone like myself. You don't want to fuck with that energy, I promise you. So do what you will, but that's your lesson, right? If you need to learn that lesson, it's going to happen. You're going to choose what you're going to choose. And then you're going to be like, Rebel, you told me so in that collective reading and I didn't listen. And then I got fucking burned. But you know what? That fire burned away all that I did not need to carry with me that made me make that decision to intervene on their behalf. So it's all good no matter what. So choose what you're going to choose. I am not going to tell you what to choose because that's your path and not mine. So I took my own advice. I take it every single day. I love you guys. That is the end of the reading. Is there anything else that you guys would want to talk about before I have to hop off and go get my children? Just because I know Mike brought up Three Eye Atlas, and did you have any more questions on that or anything else that you want me to address while you have me live? Otherwise, I will go carry on living my life. It's time for cashew nuts and honey. Yes, Matt. It is always time for cashews and honey, in my opinion. I love them. I'm really a nut eater, though. Like, I'll get whatever, and it's not like a variety of nuts at one time because probably the tism, but I really love cashews, and those are like, I'll go on a cashew kick for a couple months and those will be the only kind of nuts that I'll eat for the most part. Lately it's been peanuts. I need to buy some more actually because I ran out. But sometimes it's almonds. It never walnuts though. Like I can eat those in stuff, but I can't just sit there and snack on walnuts unless they're actually fresh, like from someone's walnut tree. The store-bought ones are just gross to me. But best we can do is see each other, each and everyone's highest self here in the physical, and know they will get there in divine time is all we'll do. Exactly, Anna. Exactly. And if you feel the need to control another person's experience or path, then that points to something where, somewhere within you that you feel out of control. That's why everything is our mirror. Pistachios. Oh yeah, that's another one. I love pistachios. And I like the ones that are already unshelled from the store. And I like the salt and pepper flavored ones. I don't know, they're just delicious. But yes, I could have been a squirrel probably. Because I love nuts. If you know, you know. But yeah, and honey, always a good thing. Especially cold and flu season, y'all. Be getting your honey. And allergy season, just year round, have raw local honey because it's really great for healing sore throats and any other ailment of the body. It's a great antiseptic, and it's really good for the raw local honey, local to you. That's, any kind of histamine producing plant species around in your area that a bee might pollinate, that's giving you small doses so that you can build up your immunity to it naturally. So it helps with allergies. But yeah. You've been eating peanuts too? I can't tell what that little emoji is. I'm trying to look, sorry, on my computer. And what is that little emoji in the middle next to the peanut? I cannot tell what that is. It just looks like a brown, like kind of like a triangle. At first I thought it was a basketball or something. But it's too small for me to see what the hell it is. Like the hug emoji, you guys. Like I had no idea what that thing was. And whenever like first meeting Steph, he used that, like he still does use that all the time, but I had no idea what that emoji was. And I was just like, heart, heart, heart. Because I didn't see that it was two people embracing. It just looked weird. So it did not look like hugging to me. The honey is all natural and local. Yes, I love it. I get honey. That's local here too. Hazelnut. I like hazelnuts themselves, but like hazelnut flavored stuff grosses me the fuck out. That's a hazelnut? I had no idea that they had a hazelnut emoji. How weird. I couldn't tell if it was a pumpkin or like a basketball or something. So my brain works differently than many others, which is why I couldn't tell the hugging emoji was a hugging emoji. What the fuck is that? Like, I'll just carry on and pretend like heart, heart, heart. Like I know what the fuck you're doing. So that was the longest time. I think it was like a year ago, maybe, that I finally figured out it was two people hugging in that emoji. Hazelnut was the emoji. Yeah, I get that, Matt. I get it. Yeah. Anywho, the way my brain works sometimes, like last week, and I've gone over this a few times in my head because I'm like, when I was talking about Three Eye Atlas, I'm like, they're just like go into Mars and then it'll be Earth next, and then it's like at the center. I'm like, no, it's not the chart of planets where, like, in my mind, that's what I was looking at instead of their actual placements at the time. So I'm like, of course it has to cross, and it's not gonna get to Earth until, because they don't just follow in a line in order. But my brain, yeah, the way that my brain does stuff sometimes, it's questionable, but I get there eventually. So, all right, guys. Well, I love you all so much. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I've got to leave momentarily to go pick up my children. So, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow then. Love you. Take care, you guys.